You've triggered my trap card, the Magical Hats. In this series, myself and 3 of the top Yu-Gi-Oh! Streamers will give their unfiltered, uncensored, and uninformed takes on some of Yu-Gi-Oh!'s most pressing issues. The catch? One of these 4 has a fake take, and it's up to the rest to find the liar. It's time to play Magical Hats.
Dan, leave this one in the video.
And welcome back to another episode of Magical Hats. We're all chillin', we're grillin', we're villains. I got me, I got Coder, I got Farfa, I got Nim Nim. Anyway, today we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh wow, cringe.
Today's prompt is about a class of cards that I am lobbying to be called equalizers and no one is picking up. A series of stuff that you jam into your extra deck and then deploy when you go second. Board breakers. We are asking, are they too good?
So you mean side deck, not extra deck?
Did I say extra deck?
Yeah, you did.
Equalizers, extra deck cards. Let's go.
No. Dan just dub over the side.
Side.
There you go. Let's schmix it up a little bit this time. Gage, you want to go first?
Oh, I mean, I suppose I'll go first. Okay. My take on this is I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Is unlike any other card game, right? Compared to like all the other big 3, Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just in an entire realm of its own, even baked right down to the bare minimum of like their resource system. And I think because there is like no resource system to keep the game flowing at a steady state, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like the only game where you can literally vomit your entire hand on the board and make cards just make insane value, right? You can go plus 20 in a turn, which that's just not physically possible in most other card games. So I think it's also in that same line that we can say like these cards, these equalizers, as Joseph would like to put it, definitely are, I think, at a comfortable level. I think we've had a lot of going second cards released in the recent years that have really pushed the limits of what thought like could be possible earlier on. Cards like Dark Ruler No More, even Ultimate Slayer to a point people thought was really crazy, but they've proven to be pretty fair, right? I know it's really frustrating to get your board Dark Rulered, but in a meta where Dark Ruler No More is like the considered going second staple, you can still play around it and make different boards to adjust for it. So I think the cards that have been pushing the limits, like the evenly matched, like Dark Ruler No More, Lightning Storm, and stuff like that, although they seem really powerful on paper, they still are just powerful enough for them not to be broken. I think these going second cards have been designed really well recently, and I'm pretty sure they're all fair.
Yeah, I guess I'll go next if we're going in opposite order. I hate to agree with Gage because I think that that's probably the most suspicious thing you can do. But I think that when we look at going second cards, you see a sentence like the one on Dark Ruler that's like, all monsters negated, you can't respond with monster effects, and you go, all right, that's like the most broken thing ever, right? But in practice, I think he's right in that there are ways to play around almost every single one of these. A Dark Ruler, for instance, famously during Virtual World format, you would like chain the Chuche to, and then you could respond with like the thing that would actually counter the Dark Ruler.
Just say his name, Joseph. The thing is VFD.
Kashtira has done
Just say it.
Oh, VFD. Yeah, it was VFD. But like Kashtira, for instance, is a deck with a clear weakness to going second cards, and what's happened, instead of, people just saying, oh, if you draw it, you draw it, people have transformed their play around them, taking what would be an exceptionally boring match in, lock 15 zones and pass, into one that actually has interplay because they're playing with respect to those cards. I think they're powerful for sure, but I think that going first is so crazy that you're going to need something like decently powerful in order to beat back that level of advantage. I think they're in a good spot, and I think the fact that a lot of them, cards like Lightning Storm, for instance, aren't seeing play proves that, like, they're fine.
All right, I guess it's me. So I completely agree with Gage and you, I suppose. When you look at cards like Evenly Matched, Dark Ruler, like if you read these cards like 10 years ago, you would think like this is a custom card. Like this is something someone posted on Reddit because they were so salty about Dragon Rulers or spell books or something. Like in theory, if you activate Dark Ruler against a combo monster deck, you should sort of just win on the spot, or evenly against a back row deck. But with modern Yu-Gi-Oh, there's almost so many ways to play around this. Like you can summon boss monsters in defense to play around Lightning Storm. A combo deck might have some sort of searchable Omni Negate trap card to stop Dark Ruler. The thing is, like, wiping the board doesn't even guarantee that you have a way to win that turn. I mean, there's cards like Maxi and Mastodon, for example, that you still have to contend with. And hand traps, I think, bring a lot of, I suppose, counterplay to all of these equalizers, as I suppose you like to call them. In general, I'm really in favor of going second being strong, because you can probably count on one hand the amount of times going second has ever been optimal in any given format. So turboing out something like Zeus is very powerful, but again, like sometimes these kind of cards like don't actually just win you the spot. But right now, I think we're actually in a very, very perfect equilibrium and a really perfect sweet spot. I don't think they should be stronger than where they are, but I think they're good enough to really shake up the game and make you think about how you play going first.
Okay, well, I guess I will close it out here. So the prompt was, are going second cards getting too strong, or are they too strong and whatnot? And I think on the contrary, I think they're all pretty weak. And I mean this, like, obviously, like Nadir said, if you read Dark Rule, you read Evenly, you're like, this is a custom card, this is broken. We've had so many formats in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where drawing Evenly with nothing else to break a board didn't even break the whole board. Or, like, you would Dark Ruler a deck, but then, like, they could still have back row or hand traps, so that doesn't even, clear the whole board by itself. I think going second cards are significantly weaker than they appear to be, and I think this is like really obvious in the fact that there has been no good going second deck in a long time. Like, you can pull up to an event playing a blind second deck and stuff like that. It is almost always like playing from behind. You are not playing the most optimal strategy if you are playing a deck built to blind second. I think the only example, in my opinion, of going second cards that are in some way too strong is cards like Kaiju's Lava Golem Sphere Mode. I know that they haven't been like really crazy that often, but when they are, these cards, like, you know, the format's really busted when you have to play these cards, but those cards, in my opinion,
literally
are
this format.
where the what's up?
This format, like literally this
fair,
one.
very, very fair. But I'm saying, like, the formats in which those cards are good are like few, like, and far between. But I definitely think that those non-answerable, like, I guess Dark Ruler's non-answerable, but like, you can have, like, you know, like Nadir said, like a searchable trap Omni Negate kind of thing. Whereas like Lava Golem Sphere Mode Kaiju's is like, yeah, you don't even get to, you haven't had the chance to breathe and the guy's already on your board. You know what I mean? I think those are probably the only ones that I would consider are a little too cracked when they're really good. But I don't think in general going second cards are even very good at all. I think they're just okay. They're necessary from time to time, but by themselves, they never win you the game, which in my opinion is where they should be.
I got a question for everyone, I suppose, and that's in the context of Rogue, for example. I think they might be too powerful. So I'm wondering how you guys feel about these equalizers going into Rogue. I mean, if you resolve evenly match against you, Kevin, playing Unchained, like, there's almost no counterplay to that, right?
No, there is. There is. In Unchained specifically, there actually is counterplay, but I see your point, where like a lot of rogue decks will just fold to these
Nibiru and stuff
like
that.
really crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think rogue decks losing to these cards speaks to how powerful the cards are themselves. I think it maybe reflects the weaknesses of the person playing the rogue deck, right? Like if you're playing like Fright Fur or something like that, you get slaughtered by evenly. I don't know, what loses to Fright Fur, like
Battle
everything.
Fader,
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think that's just a flaw in the deck itself. I don't think that really makes a better case to say like these cards like Evenly and Lightning Storm are better. Because like Kevin said though, like even you were getting to somewhere where it's like you have to sometimes pair two cards together to do anything. Like if you're playing Lightning Storm, great card in general. Either I like Raigeki your board or I Harpy's Feather Dust you, right? On paper, incredible card. But against some decks like Tirashizu that we just saw, you Lightning Storm, I'm going to laugh at you.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think it really just depends on the deck you're playing against. I think the cards in general, though, I think they're fair, I think is the thing we came to. The only person that I'm like suspicious of is Kevin. He said they just weren't even good.
No, okay, I'll clarify. So what I mean by they're not that good is when I consider if a card is good or not, it's a card that by itself does so much. And going second cards that I would qualify as really good are stuff like Red Reboot, which is banned, and to some extent, Pankratops. I think Pankratops is a more powerful card than Evenly Match or Lightning Storm or anything like that. The card's a body and forces out a ton of shit. The thing you need to keep in mind is that Evenly Match, Lightning Storm, for the most part, in most most duels you're going to be playing, those cards are going to bait out a negate. They won't do the thing that says on the card that it does. They will say -1 negate on your opponent's board. Whereas Pankratops is able to trade for 2. Red Reboot basically can't be responded to because counter traps are busted like that. That's why I'm saying they're not crazy. They're like, they are good cards. Obviously, the text on the card reads a good thing. But I'm saying you look at evenly matched, and sometimes you look at that evenly, and you're like, damn, I just wish this was an imperm for my opponent's starter.
You got a take on this, Joseph?
Yeah, you've been pretty quiet over there, Joe.
Yeah, I really don't have anything to say, honestly. That was a pretty strong, I think, incorrect statement from Kevin, but that doesn't mean he's lying.
Okay, so what do you think's incorrect about it, right?
I don't know if we want to go back to like talking about rogue decks, right? I think what we should focus on is like the gameplay loop of rogue decks, right? Like a lot of these decks, despite the fact that they're using like dog water cards for babies, they're still trying to do something that's like comparable to existing strategies, right? Like Valaunt, for instance, is like an awful archetype that just FTKs, right? And so it loses to Nibiru in the same way that
What
like
is
Kashtira
Valaunt?
would, right? So I think
Valence.
oh Valence,
Valence.
it's
It's
like
Valence.
a pendulum.
He
I don't
can't
know if
fucking
he.
pronounce
I don't know if he
cards
was
for the
talking about
life of him.
Vylons or Valence. Like,
But when we're talking about like rogue strategies losing to going second tools, I think that's because the rogue strategies almost universally are trying to do something unfair. Like, oh my god, going second tools beat Dark World. Like, good. I don't want them to Silva hand loop me. Does that mean the going second tools are too strong? No, I think it means they're in a good position. Like, they're well designed.
Farfa, you had a point. You were saying like you really enjoy decks being able to go second. And one question I ended up having was, do you enjoy these decks being able to go second on the merit of like the deck themselves, or being able to go second because of all these generic cards that are possible to be played in that deck? Do you think that that's what makes it fun? Or is it like, I don't know, I'm beating people outside the box with a strategy they're not
yeah,
expecting?
I don't know. Like, whenever I think of Go Second Perfection, I always think of that like Honey Orcus deck from ages ago that was like blind second with Vishuddha and Mind Control and Pankratops. And in some ways, I think like, I don't know if that was really the engine itself that was obviously it helped, but I mean there was just like a lot of like staples generically, like the Mind Controls and the Vishuddhas that just really helped you. Yeah, I think that's really good. I think that's the best. That's when Yu-Gi-Oh! Is at its peak. It's when you're able to pick apart and trade 1-for-1 and then a 1-for-2 and stuff like that. I think that's actually when it's like at its most fun.
You would like my Unchained deck, bro. My blind second Unchained is literally 3 of every Unchained card, 3 Lightning Storm, 3 Dark Ruler, 3 Evenly Matched, 3 Kaiju. That's just how I build the deck.
I think Nadir.
I would like to change that answer.
But I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand. Because, like, that doesn't win. Like, I play this in Unchained, and the deck's still ass. Like, that doesn't win.
You're playing Unchained, Kevin. What do you want?
After you resolve Dark Ruler, you have to normal summon, like, Sasahara or whatever.
You're literally
Of course
playing
you're
Unchained,
losing.
Kevin. Like, I don't...
No, but like, no deck, no good deck in the game right now prefers to go second. And I feel like it's been so long since a deck in the game preferred to go second that was like a good meta strategy.
Do we want to guess?
I have a guess.
I have a guess.
I feel like I'm so wrong. I feel like I am unbelievably wrong. You know what I've noticed, by the way, is that every single time we do this, anytime no one has a clue who the imposter is, they just write my name. What's the deal with that, huh? Explain.
We find you are a very imposter style.
It's every time the lights go off, I don't know where you're at.
All right, everyone ready? 3, 2, 1. It's me.
Yes! Yes!
Yeah, that's who I had.
Did you guys both write Joseph?
Yeah, we got
I
him!
just-
We got him!
I feel like my back was against the fucking wall because I haven't been the imposter in weeks.
Yeah, you were just extraordinarily like more quiet than usual.
That's the strategy.
I
You just
can
let him
tell.
cook.
That was
You know,
because
that's
I was
what you do.
Let him cook, yeah, dude.
That was because I was suppressing my real take, which is that all of you are dumbass dog
You
shit.
think they're too good?
brains
Time for
idiots.
the
think they're
shit
too
to
good?
come out. I'm ready.
Relax. What is your?
I don't give a fuck if evenly matched is good or not. The gameplay that happens when I draw evenly matched is not fun. Like, I don't give a shit if Lightning Storm is a good card or a bad card. If it's ever being played, it's going to lead to a sacky non-game determined by if my opponent has drawn the part of their deck that deals with the dog shit going second card versus did I draw the dog shit going second card that wins me the game instantly. I think Kevin talking about Lava Golem, Sphere Mode, Kaijus, exactly on point. dumb shit, unrespondable, auto-win garbage that determines games zero fun to
I mean,
play
it's
with.
not
When I was
auto-win.
talking about like,
Jesus, bro.
well, it's close. When I was talking about like the gameplay that's preserved by like going second cards being extremely good, the gameplay I'm talking about is people in Kashtira making a rise hard pass. That sucks ass. If I wanted to play a game that slow, I'd play Magic. Like I'm here to watch like cool shit happen. Like I just like I cannot tolerate these cards. I think they are so unfun.
Whatever. I don't know if I'll ever be happy with this analysis here at the end, but I'm glad I sniffed it out.
We got him. That's the most
Whatever.
important thing.
See y'all next time. Bye bye.
Bye.
Joseph, I meant to ask. Somebody asked me in my chat today.